All right.
Okay, maybe we'll,
And I'm host.
any luck yet?
It says that I'm host now, so that should be
How
good.
strange.
Yeah.
Is it?
I logged in from Google Classroom.
Okay.
So I don't know why that would have screwed things up, but it did.
Yeah, I've had some similar things happen between personal and school accounts, and you're like, oh my Lord.
I was really good at this last year, but it's been so long.
Yeah. You know, I was going to tell you, Melissa asked the perfect question at practice this morning. She goes, well, what are we going to go over? And, she goes, I'm not sure about this freestyle thing because I don't know how to recognize any of the content. And I said, that is literally the perfect. That's exactly what everyone who says, oh, maybe I do figures or dance, but I don't know how to recognize the jumps and spins for freestyle. I said, that's perfect. That's exactly what this is here for.
Yeah, we'll go over what the jumps are and the spins. But I mean, I think a lot of it is just sitting down and watching kids and trying to figure it out.
Yes.
Especially when they're not done perfectly.
Yeah, and I'll help her out a little bit at the rink too, because she does figures. And so, I always come back to why figures are so important, because if you know the edges from figures, the jumps then really aren't too intimidating in terms of figuring them out. Unless someone talks about the Salchow or the loop and the toe stop.
Well, we're going to talk about that too.
I got in trouble years ago when I did freestyle because I did the double loop off the toe stop. And I'm like, I was just a trendsetter.
Yeah. What was hard was we were always taught no toe stop when you were first learning the singles. And then that was hard for me to switch to try to do it with the toe stop.
It is. You can easily send yourself to the ER if you're not careful.
All right, so I think everything's working. So share there. Yeah, so Jamie and I were just talking as you were coming in, Melissa, that one of the hardest things to do is recognize what is it that the kids are doing, especially when they're not done perfectly, because it's harder to judge the beginner events than it is to judge the elite, where the stuff is easy to recognize, but we can get more into that. So free skating, and this is strictly our domestic. We'll probably talk about the roll art judging at the end, but this is for our domestic, our local contest. The C Commission is all based on our domestic judging. In the domestic judging, you have 2 scores. So you get a score for content, can also be called technical merit. And that's made up of actually what you do, the jumps, the spins, the footwork. And what goes into that content is the difficulty of the jumps. You analyze, okay, is a flip more difficult than a MAPES? What score do I give to each? So there's that inherent difficulty of items. But there's also, 2 flips done to definition can be different in difficulty when you bring in your speed or the entrance or transitions and things like that. So that's where the difficulty comes from. Also, and this is coming from the technical manual. I think this starts like page 78 of that technical manual. Again, it seemed really funny to me that the figures is like 60 pages, dance is like 6, free skating's maybe 12, when you analyze like the stuff that goes into it. So difficulty, music, planned music and choreographed around it, as opposed to having music playing while somebody's skating. And you'll recognize the difference when you see the skaters, which ones are incorporating the music, as opposed to just skating with something going on. Variety, change of pace to the music, change of pace to the skating, change of rhythm. They were saying something about surprise elements as far as movements, and I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that. As far as I see Sarah's face, not sure about what they mean by a surprise, but it's in there. So, and then they talk about harmonious composition. It's just the way they utilize the floor. So you want to reward a skater who has thoughtfully placed their jumps and their spins to cover the floor. They're going both directions. And those different items are linked logically and smoothly. And there's no jump, cross pull, jump, cross pull, spin, cross pull. And it's not just item, move to another place, item. Does that make sense? So all of that goes into the content. The second score is manner of performance. This can also be called artistic impression. And the things that go into that are the form. This goes to, those were all listed as when they were talking about form. The body position should be erect unless they're doing something special and planned, meaning there's a foot over their head or something like that. Free leg, all of these descriptions you can see in the technical manual for free skating, but all of it was just to improve grace and flow. So all the typical things: nose, belly button skates, hands held out, easy speed, and for it to look effortless. Interpretation when it comes to movements, to harmonize the musical pattern. I honestly think Labriola wrote this just because of the words that he uses. But basically, content is what you do. Manner of performance is how you do it. So when we're looking at content and deciding what to value certain things, that the content includes, the content meaning the jumps and the spins. It includes footwork, not specifically just your footwork sequence, but also transitions into a jump. What we were saying earlier about cross pull, jump, cross pull, spin. You want to have some kind of dance or free dance element in there. So it's not just item, skate, item, skate. Music can help that content, although honestly, I hold content separate than the music choice. But the choice of music does allow a skater to show their content, better or worse, depending on the choice of music. Now, does that make sense as far as a basic overview of content, manner of performance? Content, what you do; manner of performance, how you do it. Okay. So let's talk about the jumps before we get into the specific jumps. Jump, they broke down into 3 parts: momentum, height, travel are the things that go into the difficulty and the valuation of the jump. How fast, how high, how far. The actual parts of the jump: takeoff, rotation. Takeoff and landing edge should be pure. If they're not, they've got either pre-rotation or cheating at the end. Pre-rotation just means they're rotating on the ground before liftoff. And under rotation or cheating is they haven't rotated enough so that they can land backwards on a backwards landing jump. And so that's what we call cheating. Body position. Jamie, have you read the technical manual in a while? You don't have to answer that. There are just some things that I was rereading today, prepping for this, that I'm not sure I agree with anymore. And
Is
we
this
can talk about this.
the body positions on freestyle content?
Yeah. Like they were saying, a low wrap should be rewarded over a high wrap. Sorry, I'm looking for my, I gotta go get a case.
Yeah, that
I gotta charge my
Yeah.
iPad before it dies.
that's a tough one because you're getting into technique versus yeah.
Yeah, so low wrap versus high wrap. So what that means, Melissa, is do you know what a wrap, what we mean when we talk about a wrap? It's the free leg well, obviously they're both free because you're in the air, but it's the one that's going to land as the free leg. It'd be so much easier if you could like see if we were in person. But if it's crossed low at the ankle, you're going to see more low wraps on higher rotated jumps. So doubles and triples, because it allows for faster rotation. But some kids just naturally have a higher wrap. And I don't see that it's wrong. If it allows them to do the rotation, I think it's fine.
So what would be the location of a low versus high? What separates them?
Low would be at the ankle. So at the ankle, no space between the legs. High wrap would be more at the knee. So like the knees are crossed. Some of my favorite skaters had a really high wrap. Look up Tammy Giroux and you're going to see a high wrap. So all else equal, if you've got two skaters, then I could see rewarding the low wrap, but most of the time it's not going to be an issue. I mean, in the single jumps, you don't really even have time to wrap. So
I think really the only way I consider it applicable to judging is if you get to a contest and there's 8, 9 kids in an event, sometimes you might have to look at where the free leg is wrapped, and is their low wrap really 2-footing the jump versus landing on 1 foot? And that's really kind of the only time I really, as a judge, take it into consideration too much. I call it 6-wheeling, which is where is the left foot taking the landing with the right and not really landing on the landing edge.
yeah. And I always go back to the way what I learned, and the statement was all else being equal. If you've got two skaters that are absolutely equal, then yeah, bring it in. But usually it's not going to be a factor. There are a couple other things that will come up for that. So vertical axis, out of the ordinary rewarded. They do talk about body position. So if you've got a skater doing a double flip, textbook double flip versus a skater that's doing a double flip with the arms over the head, you reward the position that's out of the ordinary if the jump is rotated and landed equally. Does that make sense? All right, then that was followed by 3 pages describing no rotation and half rotation jumps. If you look at the technical manual, it's pretty impressive considering I've never put any one of them specifically in a freestyle routine.
Sounds like a skater test.
Yeah, it was, you know, there's a 3-turn jump, there's a bracket jump. So pretty much any turn that you can do, add a hop to it, and they've got to jump for it.
My
But
skaters do that. So
yeah,
that's great.
well, you know, and that's part of our roll art too. I think just racking up the points, which, you know, those are the rules. Use the rules to your advantage, but it really doesn't come in with our domestic situation right now. So the basic jumps: Mapes, toe ollie, Salchow flip, Lutz loop, Euler, Bokel, axel. And we'll get into specifically what those are. This red is my note because the technical manual still says that the use of a toe stop on the Salchow and the loop is wrong. In my opinion, use of the toe assist on loop and Salchow is penalized only if that's allowing pre-rotation, meaning when we get into the Salchow, we'll talk about it a little more, but if they're using that toe stop and spinning on it before jumping, then that should be penalized. But if they're just using it as a launch, I think there's no reason to penalize that. And it's the same thing on the loop. Using that toe stop on the loop to get up into the air, I would, as a judge, my goal is to evaluate the contest to benefit the skaters. So I am not going to hurt a skater because of all the noise about using the toe stop on a loop and a Salchow. Sarah, you have more freestyle than any of us do. What's your take on that?
I think roll art pretty much allows it. So I'm teaching the kids to take off from toe stop with Salchow, not the single loop, but double loop. Yes.
Yeah, that's what Jamie and I were just talking about. We were taught on the singles, no toe stop, but then to do the doubles, the toe stop's okay.
Yeah, I used to teach the girls single Salchow without the toe stop, and Katu asked me why you do that. They should just do it. So
yeah,
I started doing that with the single Salchow.
Yeah, I think I had
I'm in the same.
the exact same conversation with Kadu. What's that, Jamie?
I'm in the same boat. You know, when I was a kid, they did all the doubles. We were starting to do the doubles off the toe, but the singles were still strictly the edge. And, you know, you get really kids to do the jump with a little more control and quality coming off of the toe. It's more consistent. So that's what I do now too.
Yeah, I like it too, because there's no changing. You know, I want to teach one technique. You know, what they learn on the waltz jump, they'll apply to the axel. So the same thing. Anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with the judging, but I wanted to hear what Sarah had to say. And Melissa, when we talk about the loop and the Salchow, I'll show you exactly what that means. So in addition to now these are not the only jumps there are. There's a college, there's some other things, but these are just the ones that you're going to see most often. And if we talk about most often, we can probably even, you know, take that one out of there because you don't see many Bokels. Bokels, let's see. Toe ollie, I know, is not in the roll art. Is Bokel in the roll art? No, I didn't.
It is.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jamie? It is?
It isn't, no. And I think they took out the college as well. I don't believe it's in there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in addition to just the plain jumps, there are combinations. A combination is a sequence of jumps put together where the landing edge of the first jump is the takeoff edge of the second jump. That's without any turns, change of edge, steps at all. If they do a change of foot, a change of edge, or a turn, that turns into a series of jumps and not a combination. There's also, so in a combo with no break in rhythm should be rewarded. Meaning you're going to see a lot of skaters will do, 2 jumps in combination and not be set up for the third jump. They'll hold that foot, but have to move the free leg back into position. They change their body and then jump again. So there's a break in rhythm. There's a jump, jump, set up again, jump. So it's technically a combination, but it should not be rewarded like a jump, jump, jump. Okay. So then let's talk about the specific jumps and how to recognize them. So I don't know how helpful the diagrams of the jumps are. It always takes me a minute to like actually analyze it. But a MAPES, let's start normal direction. All of these diagrams, regular direction is on the left. Regular direction meaning the direction of rotation. So when you rotate to the left, that's counterclockwise. That's the typical rotation. Reverse would be going the other way. And both of them are judged and evaluated equally. But from a judging standpoint, I hate reverse skaters. It just takes so much more effort to watch what's going on, which that comes out wrong because you should be putting in your effort anyway. But there's a delay. When you're used to seeing skaters rotate to the left, when you see someone rotate the left, to the right, you have to stop and think, okay, what foot were they on? So what edge is that? What were they landing on? Was that a flip? Was that a MAPES? So it just takes a little bit more time. So again, this is judging, not coaching. When I get a new skater and they want to rotate to the right, I try everything I can do to get them to rotate to the left at the beginning. If you let it go too long, it's really hard for them to turn back. I've got an issue right now with the gymnast who can't remember which way to jump. She'll do regular direction and then she'll go the other way and has absolutely no idea what she did. So it's not easy. But we'll talk about the regular direction first. A MAPES, right outer back. This is a regular direction skating. So if they're going in regular direction as far as counterclockwise around the floor, if they're on the right foot going backwards, you've got a left toe assist, you're rotating to the left, and you come out on a right outer back edge. So again, a MAPES is going to be a right outer back. So regular direction using the left toe stop. And that's going to be a MAPES. Okay. As far as the level of difficulty, the MAPES is one of the easier jumps. It's one of the easier jumps because the motion of the free leg is going in the direction of the rotation of the jump. So it's one of the first ones the kids are going to learn, and it's one of the easiest ones to learn the rotation. That said, one of the things you're going to look for on the MAPES is that they're not turning, they're not doing a toe waltz jump or a toe axel, meaning that they're staying relatively square to the tracing. So that's the left side, and not opening up that left side when they're stabbing. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm trying to like describe it, Melissa. Sometimes it's something that you just need to see. And if you can see me, I'm like, I'm doing it while we're talking.
And the diagrams make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So then,
I'll just find a video of
yeah, I think that's what I'm going to start trying to do
Yeah.
that. Video my kids. The only problem with that is my kids my kids are new and we're class skaters. So I don't have a lot that do the higher jumps. So maybe if Sarah comes to practice again, I'll video some others. Okay. Hold on one sec, guys.
There is and I'll look for it. I'll send the link to you, Michelle. There is a USAC, when it was USACers, a video of all the singles through the triples broken down in slow motion.
I was searching for it. Is it on YouTube?
It is. I'll look for the link and I'll just send it over to you.
I might have gotten distracted while I was looking, so I never actually
Take
found
it, find it. Yeah.
Bye. All right. Toe Wally it's a MAPES going the other direction. So if they're going the reverse direction of skating, and it looks like a MAPES, that's going to be a toe Wally. Toe Wally is slightly harder than the MAPES in that you're changing the direction of your skating. So you can see here, if you're going reverse direction, so that's clockwise, when you land, you've got to be on a counterclockwise edge. Okay, so that'll be something that you can see based on direction of travel. Again, what Jamie was saying is you're a figure skater, so you know your edges, and that's what you're going to rely on to determine what jump is what. So you can look at the shoulders as well to see, to verify that they're doing the edge, but that's not always the easiest thing to see, number one, and some kids aren't going to have the best position to show that they are on that edge. Does that make sense? Hi, Jody.
Hi.
All right, and then next we have the Salchow, which we already started talking about a little bit. Don't go to Facebook. This is why.
I want to talk about the toe stop so bad.
Okay, well, we already did, so we'll recap what we've
No, I
already
need to
talked
talk about it forever.
So a Salchow again is regular direction of travel. It's a left inner back. The technical manual still says the toe stop is incorrect, but we've already talked about the fact that we're going to ignore that part of the technical manual. And a lot of the skaters use that toe stop for launch to get up in the air. This is a regular rotation to the left counterclockwise, and you land on a right outer back edge. You want to watch that left toe stop is not allowing rotation on the ground. That's the one thing that the toe assist can do on this one. What I mean by that is as they're lifting up, if they start to rotate before they jump, so watch that there's no pre-rotation on that. Did that cover what we said on the toe stops earlier, oh my goodness, Jamie?
Yeah, I think that was pretty thorough.
Jody, we also, well, I disagreed with them wanting to reward low wrap over high wrap. In just two things being equal, I don't think it should matter. If the kids are rotating fully with a high wrap, I don't think they should be penalized against a skater that's rotating with a low wrap. But, okay, so then the loop. A loop is technically a jump from one edge to the same edge. So you can do a left outer forward loop, you can do a right inner forward, a left inner back. But the one that we see most often and is recognized as a loop is the one from the right outer back edge to the right outer back edge. Again, this is the jump. This is a jump that can be taken off on that toe stop, which again, as Sarah said, is in roll art is okay, is actually taught that way. So I don't see a need to penalize it here unless, again, that right toe stop is allowing pre-rotation before getting up in the air. Again, if you reverse it the other way, it's the left outer back to left outer back. But again, I think we should just concentrate on regular direction first. And when you get those jumps, then we can look at the other way. Sound like a plan? Okay. Euler. If we look at the order of difficulty 2, flip, Lutz, loop. Flip and Lutz is before the loop, sorry. So the flip is another regular direction one. But this, unlike the MAPES, you're going to start on the left foot, stabbing with the right. Now, this is more difficult because there's no rotation into it with that free leg. What actually gets you up into the air is that left foot lift, the free leg lift. So that's why this one's a little bit more difficult for the kids, for the skaters. And it lands on that right outer back edge. The Lutz, similar to the MAPES and the toe ollie, the Lutz is a flip going the other direction. So that one's starting on the outer back edge. Again, you've got the toe, the stabbing gives you the launch up, and you're changing the direction of your edges. So you're landing on that the other lobe. Make sense? So you'll see a change in circle if they do that. Now, that said, and looking at, oh, where's my axle? I did an axle. I drew an axle. I did not do an axle. All right. I don't know. We can do it though. What was I saying? Okay, so the diagrams are great, and looking at the definitions, that's great too. But in a lot of cases, jumps are done on very shallow edges or straight. So you're going to be looking at direction of travel more so than trying to see, okay, are they curving around? Does that make sense? Okay. I don't know where my axle went, so let's talk about the axle. I broke my shoulder doing an axle. Actually, no, I landed the axle and then I said, "Hey, Mom!" And I jumped up and I fell and I broke my shoulder. So I did the axle. All right, I was 10. So an axle is a left outer forward. No toe assist here. You're gonna jump. So left outer forward. How do you show 1.5 turns?
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm thinking about my diagram here. So you're landing on the right outer back. It's a 1.5 rotation jump. And it's one of the more difficult steps for the kids to make. It's like a transition from singles to doubles. Once they get the axle, the double's not so far, but it seems like that is a big jump for a lot of the kids to get from singles to the axle. So this is a 1.5 rotation counterclockwise.
I think when diagramming it, I remember doing that once. I drew arrows for the landing edge versus the takeoff edge. So arrows going forward for the takeoff, an arrow pointing the opposing direction for the landing.
I'm not sure what you mean, but Melissa, we take off forward, we land backwards.
You probably see Evan do this a lot because I know he's working on an axle right now.
I see Evan Fall doing this a lot. Does Evan actually do this?
He's getting closer, but if you know, it's a 1.5. And one of the things you'll see pretty common with the beginner freestyle skaters in our league is he's short of the rotation. So instead of landing on what's shown here as the right outer back edge, he would land a little short of that and then hook the edge. So it's pretty common to see that.
And that's not what we want to see, right? Okay.
As I tell my kids all the time, falling just means you're trying something that you can't already do. So if you're not falling, it means you're not trying to push yourself and get better. So falling is not a problem. Kids
That's
don't
right.
buy that. Kids don't buy that though.
You're gonna do
All right.
freestyle, you're gonna have to fall.
Yeah. So then the one I skipped here was the Euler. You're going to sometimes see it by itself, but most of the time the Euler is a connecting jump. Connecting jump meaning it's in a combination. And we'll talk about the Euler first and we'll talk about combinations again. So a Euler goes from a right outer back, regular rotation to the left, and you're landing on a left inside back edge. If you noticed, all of the jumps we've talked about up till now have landed on a right outer back. We mentioned college and Bocal and Bouquet. College and Bouquet are landed on the left. College is like an axle on the left foot. Bouquet is like a Bocal landed on the left foot. But I don't even, they're not in roll art anymore, are they? That's what you guys said.
But you can do them in the B.
I was going to say, yeah, in our, in the domestic program and in the B level, a college is going to be similar to the axle, but instead of the right outer back, you're going to land on that same foot you took off on. So you take off on the left outer forward, 1.5 rotation, and you're landing on a left inner back.
Yeah. Back to the Euler, I just call it a loop that went bad.
I was using, the ice skaters call it a half loop. So that's what we were working on combinations the other day. I mean, and this is a coaching thing, not a judging thing, but it's trying to get them to go easier than the loop, because they're doing the loop and then they're way past where they need to be for the Euler. So we call it a half loop, and then all of a sudden they can do it. Bocal is right inner forward, 1.5 turns again, and we're landing on a right outer back. Again, you don't see a lot of them, but they are out there. And Sarah, I think one of your kids did one a while back, didn't they?
Kathy did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a Bouquet. I don't even know how they spell this one. I don't think it's with the Q. That's going to be so all different kinds of wrong. But you take off on a right inner forward, you're going to land on a left inner back. Okay. But
Jamie
again,
will demonstrate that for you, Melissa. Especially since he's not here listening.
I was going to say, you volunteer. We're talking about the Euler. That's important when we talk about combinations. So we defined a combination where the first jump lands on an edge that is the takeoff jump for the second one. So Mapes lands on a right outer back. So the next jump has to have the right outer back to take off. So that could be another Mapes. That can be a loop. That can be a Euler. Does that make sense? So the issue is that all of these jumps, except for that Euler, land on the right outer back. So it seriously limits the next jump you can do. So the Euler is used as a connecting jump because the Euler lands on that left inner back. And if it lands on that left inner back, you can put in a flip. You can put in a Salchow. So that's why we call the Euler a connecting jump. How's that as an intro to jumps?
Good.
I learned a lot.
Okay, good. That said, we're just going to rush through the beginning part of spins. Okay. The technical manual goes into a big thing about circle spins and pivot spins. I don't think that's all that important. You know, you look at the edges that they're on and you can do a spin on any edge that we can do. Regular rotation again, any edge that you can make going regular direction here, right inner forward, left outer forward, right outer back, left inner back. You can also turn into a spin or 2 feet. You can turn those into spins. There are 3 basic positions for spins. There's upright, there's sits, and there are camels. I think one of the even more difficult, shouldn't be scaring you, but even more difficult than recognizing a jump is going to be recognizing, okay, what edge are they doing? Are they going forward? Are they going backwards? As a non-freestyle skater, it takes some practice and some watching to see what it is they're doing. Again, especially if the kids aren't doing them textbook. Within each of these basic positions, there are lots of variations that you can do for various more points. And we can see those, but I think the first goal would be to try and identify, okay, what edge are they doing? Does that make sense? Okay. I think next time we talk about spins, more spins and footwork. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
I think we could put spins in relation to figures. So it's like figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, or 4. So it's either forward, inner or outer edges, and back inner or outer edges. They're just it's just a smaller circle than your figures.
Yeah, that's, sorry. We actually just had this conversation on our family Zoom.
Why were you talking about that on your family Zoom?
Well, you know my family. How all figures are 1, 2, 3, 4. All spins are 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you guys want to do? I'm taking. I can do another Zoom on next Sunday. I'm taking the Sunday after that off. And then if you can come to Foothill, it is Foothill, right? For that freestyle thing, Melissa, we can sit and we can, maybe map out an event, just looking and seeing if we can identify, okay, first jump was a Mapes, then there was a left inner back upright. Then the next one was an axle. Between, I think, the 3 of us, we can figure out events where we don't have kids out there. Jamie,
Yeah.
Jody, I kind of talk for you.
Yeah. I don't have many freestyle skaters.
Okay.
Michelle, I have some videos from recent videos if you want me to share.
If you want
Not
to
a good jump.
what that?
Not perfect, not good jumps, but like they did some practice yesterday where I have some Mapes and Salchow.
If you want to do that, that's great. I'm going to film my kids this week too. And then we can put together, these are Mapeses and maybe show that. And then at the end, we'll like pick some random stuff and we'll have to identify them. So you do that. Jamie, Jody, if you've got any you want to send to me, that's great too. We can throw yours in there.
Okay,
Good.
yeah.
All right. So let's plan on next Sunday and then we'll assess from there. I think we can get through spins and footworks next week and then start working on a practice test or even the real one. You can do the real one and we can analyze it before we send it in.
Yeah, I think we should include Sherry
I
on the
think,
test.
yeah. Ashley too.
And Tim Lasky.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think we should put it out to anybody who's interested, even if they haven't been at the sessions.
Yeah, because Tim is a little more motivated now because I think he wants to try to get his B. So we have to get him a C first.
Yeah. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right, then I'll see you guys next week and then we'll take the next week off.
Okay, don't forget the Twiggy's entry fees are due like the 11th.
We were talking before you got here. Since I filled out that survey, I've lost 11 skaters.
Okay, you might give her a heads up on that. What happened?
Lots of stuff. Mom's got jobs. One girl broke her arm. My two families that were cousins aren't speaking to each other. Vaccination mandate, I lost 3. That wasn't even a vaccination mandate. It was just like, get a test once in a while. No, we're not going to do that. So it's just been a rough couple months.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I got new ones.
When I got home from nationals, we lost like half of our novice precision team, and I was like, I'm gonna cry.
I think part of it's also coming off a year when everybody was stuck at home and they're getting back into running this kid here, that kid there, and deciding, you know what, that's not all that important anymore. So anyway.
Okay, well, but you have a few skaters?
Yeah.
Good, for the freestyle contest.
Yeah, and I'll go whether I have them or not, but I'll get some there. Okay.
Okay.
Sarah, just call me if you want to come. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.